you know, you know that you got mad potential. You know that. And when you got to awaken, you couldn't help but realize that you've been sleeping on your potential. In fact, people slept on their potential, and that got you to sleep on your potential as well too. But you know that the spirit pushes for consciousness. You know that the spirit pushes for an awakening. But society would push for you to cope. You were under coping programming, coping, hoping, holding on to hope. And you felt like you were sliding down a slippery slope, trying to climb. And every time it seemed like you took a step, you found yourself falling 2 steps backwards. But the awakening got you to realize you cannot just be surviving. You got to realize that to cope means that you're just gonna stay plugged into survival mode. But your potential, your purpose, your divine purpose, you got in sync with your divine blueprint. This is frequency in motion. And you are frequency in motion. They thought you were gonna remain stagnant. Nah, they thought you were gonna stay down. They did everything to make sure that the programming would get you to feel bad about wanting to advance yourself. They did everything to make sure that you would feel tired even when you knew you should be pushing yourself to advance in your awakening process. The distractions, the lies, the constant noise that they're projecting. Of course, mentally, you were going to be tired. So even when you thought about pushing beyond coping, you found yourself just being reluctant. But now you tapped into frequency in motion and you realizing that you cannot sleep on yourself. You realizing that you're not just gonna stay coping. Regardless of whatever coping mechanisms that you got yourself attached to, your vices, all of that, you saying nah. Because you know that you are more than what they defining you to be. And you know that you have more to give yourself, to give your loved ones, to give the world, to show the world. You know that you got so much to offer. So you're not gonna settle for less. You already made up your mind. And that's why you're here. You're here to get a secondary opinion, and it's echoing within your chambers, and you feeling the reality. You feeling like, yeah, it is time. You're not gonna cope. You're becoming awakened, and it's intensifying. And you're seeing that even though you might be isolated, even though you might be shifted, you are still in society. Now, if you decide to shift out, you would still be part of system. So you still have to deal with whatever comes with that. But we're saying now that we are already here, Now that we are experiencing this in numbers, we must start to prepare the mental hemisphere. We have to start to prepare the mental mind to be ready to accommodate this new reality and what comes with this new frequency, what comes with us upgrading ourselves into this new frequency pattern. Are we ready to genuinely love? Are we ready to be honest with ourselves? Are we ready to be honest with each other? Are we ready to not just settle for what feels good, but down the road it's tearing us? It's destroying us from within. In our communities, are we ready? Are we really, really ready to be anchored in that which would allow for us to experience a higher wave, a higher vibration that is evidently manifesting through a whole lot of souls? And we're not the first wave, right? We know that there are people from ancient times who've been felt the need to shift and experience their awakening phase. They decided to go into caves. Some of them became ascetics. Some of them left everything, family, loved ones, so they can experience their awakening. And they all came to similar conclusions. And here we are. We are in our given communities, societies, or wherever it is that we're finding ourselves, and we're experiencing an internal shift. You experiencing it. You already doing what you got to do, right? You probably already been saved up. You probably already mapping out how you gonna catch flight, shift out. You probably mapping out how you gonna get into a different state. But before you had to get into that, you did a lot of inner work. And you envisioned a destination. And what we're saying now is not everybody can take flight. And for those who choose to stay, you have to now be thinking of how you're going to be really, really grounded within yourself, despite everything that is coming at you, despite the intensification of the illusion around you. Are you going to give in to the illusion, or are you going to allow the real self, the real you, step up within and live the truth that you really are in your given environment without feeling the need to shift? That is the real integrated, awakened individual. And we need more of those. We need more people to rise up to the reality of the true inner person and to live that unapologetically every single day. Loving naturally, being compassionate naturally, but not allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. When you shift out of that coping mindset, you realize that you've risen now into sovereignty, and you cannot allow yourself to be manipulated just because you got a good heart. You will not allow yourself to be taken advantage of. You will not allow yourself to be coping under oppression. You're not finding ways to cope under wickedness, under oppression, but you are realizing patterns. You are realizing the frequency patterns, and you're saying you are going to transcend the pain. Once you realize the pain, you can transcend it, right? And that is what we are projecting. Really, I appreciate y'all. If you watched up until this very point, Really, that means you've realized that you are frequency in motion. And you are not sleeping on the fact that you can make change, because you already started making the change within yourself. You're already shifting in your thoughts. You're not being comfortable with thoughts that are not serving you. You're not allowing yourself to settle for thoughts that are not getting you to experience the higher version of yourself while still in the gift of the human body. You are not allowing yourself to be comfortable. So I'm grateful that you're here with me right now. We're going to continue to echo frequencies as it is already evidently in motion, and it is doing what it has to do through us, through you. This ain't the time for you to not utilize your voice accordingly. Not only to speak up for the change that you want, but to project in faith that which you know is good for you, for me, for us all. One shoe can't fit all, but we know that we can make the journey, the pathway, we can make it a little bit more better to accommodate us all. I'm gonna go ahead and cap it at that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Much love. You just tuned into Frequency in Motion. Remember, stay conscious, stay aware, and stay grounded.